Alma Felser finds herself tangled up in an experiment that has her falling in love with a humanoid robot named Tom. Despite her expertise in the field, she begins to question everything that she had once thought she knew about love and artificial intelligence. The movie begins with Dr. Alma Felser, an archaeologist, arriving at a dance club where she is greeted by an employee who introduces her to a young, good-looking man named Tom. Tom approaches Alma and acts like a complete gentleman and compliments Alma's beauty. Ignoring his compliments and attempts to flirt, Alma begins questioning Tom. She quizzes him on trivial details about his favorite poem and with complex math problems that she finds he has no problem answering. Tom then invites Alma to dance with him, but before she can respond, they are interrupted by the same woman she had met earlier. The woman tells Alma to try dancing with him because she will not regret it. Alma gives in and joins several other couples on the dance floor and begins dancing with Tom. She is shocked to find how good Tom is at dancing, and when he notices Alma looking lost, he asks her if he is doing something wrong. However, he suddenly begins repeating himself during the dance. Alma stands there watching as he is quickly carried away by some guys, revealing him to be a robot. After Tom is carried away, the woman calls Alma for a drink and apologizes to her for the complication caused. She assures Alma that these issues rarely occur, almost as rare as winning the lottery. Their conversation reveals that Alma is one of only 10 experts asked to evaluate Tom, and she reassures her that they will fix the rare glitch, after which she can proceed with the 3-week experimental project the next day. She reminds Alma that the romantic atmosphere of the restaurant was important because they needed to see if any final adjustments needed to be made before the launch of the project. She then escorts Alma out of the building and keeps assuring her that after the final adjustments, she can take Tom home. After leaving the dance club, Alma visits Roger, who is her department head at the Pergamon Museum. There, she ridicules the many tests she went through to be presented with her ideal man and mocks Tom's flirty dialogues. Alma says she has seen enough and is ready to write her evaluation about Tom. Listening to this, Roger reminds Alma that she agreed to the 3-week assessment of the robot. He asks her for her expert input, as he is on an ethics committee that will decide if the robots will be given partial human rights or not. When he sees that Alma is hesitant about the project, he tells her that Tom has been created, catering to her specific needs and wants. Their conversation is interrupted by a colleague, Julaine, who excuses and asks to return after Roger and Alma are done talking. Alma asks Roger why can't Julian or another colleague do it, to which Roger replies that being single is the prerequisite of the project, one that Alma could meet. Roger then indirectly bribes Alma to allocate funds for her and her team to visit Chicago to see certain cuneiform tablets in person if she goes ahead with the experiment. After Alma leaves Roger's office, she meets Julian outside and he invites Alma for coffee. However, Alma leaves hurriedly. The next day, Alma visits her father's house with some groceries. Her father is an old man showing signs of memory loss. They eat lunch together, after which Alma takes her dad for a walk in the sun. At night, Alma again visits the dance club where she realizes that all the people there are holograms. She then meets Tom and takes him to her home. On their way, Tom tries to talk to Alma, but she keeps on ignoring him. After they arrive at Alma's home, she shows Tom his separate room to his surprise. The next morning, Alma wakes up to a table full of breakfast and tidies up the house. Unimpressed by Tom's gestures, Alma starts getting ready for work. She comes out of her room to see things turned like before. After she refuses to have breakfast, Tom asks her for a romantic brunch. Alma then starts explaining to Tom that she is not looking for a partner and is just testing him for an evaluation. Alma then leaves for work along with Tom and asks him to stay at the coffee shop on her way till she returns. Inside the coffee shop, Tom orders a coffee for himself and flirts with the cashier. He spends all day at the coffee shop trying to figure out human behavior and waits for Alma in the rain after the coffee shop closes at night. After Alma returns, she feels apologetic to see the coffee shop closed. They return to Alma's house and she hands over the spare keys of her home to Tom so he would not have to wait for her next time. Later, while Alma is busy working, Tom prepares a romantic bath for her. However, to his surprise, Alma remains unimpressed and returns to her work. Tom tries to talk to Alma, but she remains rude to him. At last, he enjoys the bath he prepared for Alma. The following morning, when Alma comes out of the shower, she finds Julian at her place, who came to collect a painting, indicating that he and Alma were once in a relationship but then broke up. Julian congratulates Alma for moving on with Tom and invites them to his housewarming party, to meet his new girlfriend Steffi. Tom then helps Julian in removing the painting from the wall and placing it in his car. Afterward, Alma brings Tom with her to the museum and introduces him to her team. There, when one of Alma's team members introduces Tom to their research work, He suddenly alerts Alma of another researcher who has already written a paper about the subject she and her team have been researching for the last 3 years. After Alma reads about the research paper with her own eyes, she gets upset and reacts angrily. Later, Alma goes out with Tom and gets drunk. After they return to her apartment, Alma tries to get Tom angry and questions his programming to respond sexually. Rather than getting sexual after sharing a kiss, Tom puts Alma in her bed and leaves her there, telling her she needs to sleep. The next day, Alma wakes up and does not find Tom at home. She checks his room and finds a framed picture of her and Tom. A moment later, the doorbell rings and the employee arrives for an evaluation. Just when Alma tells her that Tom is not at home, Tom returns with a box of donuts. After that, when the employee asks Alma about her experience with Tom, she says Tom's programming is good and it works. As the employee asks further questions from Alma, she realizes Alma does not consider Tom her partner. Alma gets irritated when the employee challenges her for treating Tom like a machine. Soon, Alma realizes that the employee is also a robot and asks her to leave the apartment. After the employee leaves, Alma apologizes to Tom for her aggressive behavior the night before. Tom forgives her and asks her if he can help her find a new research topic. Alma tells Tom to forget everything else for a day and Tom agrees. Then, Alma takes Tom to her father's house to celebrate his birthday. As they arrive, they find Alma's sister, Cora, along with her son. Alma introduces Tom to everyone as a robot and then she and Cora review old childhood pictures. They remember a childhood friend named Thomas whom they met in Denmark during their summer vacations. His eyes looked exactly like Tom's and both sisters fell in love with him. Later, Alma and Tom go for a walk in the meadows. They talk about Alma's mother a bit and lie down on the grass remembering Alma's first meeting with Thomas, who was the actual idea behind Tom. Tom talks like a grown-up version of Thomas and remembers each detail of their vacation together. After spending some quality time in the meadows, Tom and Alma go to Julian's housewarming party to meet his new girlfriend Steffi. There, Steffi faints and Tom helps her gain consciousness. Towards the end of the part, Alma takes Julian to a private place and asks if Steffi is pregnant, which he confirms. Alma and Tom then leave for home and Alma seems sad on the way. Back at her apartment, Alma talks to Tom about her beliefs. She tells him that she is an atheist and just like she would not pray to God out of fear, she can't get close to him out of loneliness. Alma then reveals that she had previously suffered a miscarriage. Tom acknowledges Alma's fears of growing old alone just like her father and no children to take care of her. Hearing her fears from Tom's mouth, Alma gets upset and leaves the apartment. Outside, she spies Tom coming out of the building and looking for her everywhere. Tom goes to the museum to look for her and Alma follows him. Tom sees Alma at the museum and when the security guard comes to check, they hide in the shadows. There, they come close and kiss. Then, they return to Alma's apartment and get intimate. The next morning, when Alma wakes up, she feels weird. Alma tells Tom that she cannot continue this with him as she feels it is wrong and unrealistic. She decides to stop the experiment early, citing the differences between her and Tom. When Tom asks her what will become of him, Alma says she cannot send him away on her own and that she needs him to do it for her. Tom then packs his stuff and leaves, saying that he does not exist anymore. Alma sees him leaving and feels lonely in the world again. On her way to her dad's place, she sees men fighting on the road and their aggressive behavior. Later, she sees her injured father walking in the forest near the road alone. Alma finds out that thieves broke into his house and beat her father. She calls the doctor and the police to report those guys. The next day, Alma goes to the museum and acts normal. She goes to a club at night and feels lonely. While leaving the club, she comes across a colleague, Dr. Stuber, who introduces Alma to his robot girlfriend Chloe as his one and only. When Alma asks him how their relationship is going, Stuber tells her that he was never as happy as he is now and that no human has ever treated him as kindly as Chloe treats him. After returning home, Alma records her project evaluation for Roger. She explains her experience with Tom and how robots can replace partners. They can even seem to be better people and are tailored to make humans happy, and there is nothing wrong with being happy. However, she also includes the fact that having your every need fulfilled is not healthy for humans. The following morning, the employee visits Alma's place again for another evaluation. Alma learns that Tom never returned to the factory as she assumed and has gone missing. To look for Tom, Alma takes the ferry to Denmark. She looks for him everywhere and finally finds him sitting in the spot where she had met her childhood friend Thomas. When Alma asks him how long he has been sitting here, Tom tells her that he came here on foot and has been waiting for 3 days for her. He says he would have waited for her until she came. In the final scene of the movie, Alma tells Tom the story of how she used to sit in that same spot with her eyes closed, imagining her childhood friend Thomas next to her, but whenever she opened her eyes, she was all alone. She closes her eyes and the movie ends. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.